Paul said before we went on that very, very short break, we have a very, very, very special guest, a friend of the house, and somebody whose opinions have always resonated with realities of our times. So it gives me pleasure to say a very, very, very big welcome to the, the real ambassador. I don't want to get into trouble now. Ambassador Roy, good morning, sir. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us again. And, you know, like I mentioned, and I meant every word I said earlier, each time you come here, you come in with so much deep insights that, and perspectives that you start saying, oh, this has been in our faces all along. So how haven't we seen it? So today we'll be narrowing in on a wave that is sweeping through Africa. The coup wave, I call it the coup tsunami, which is gradually taking over certain countries in Africa and the implications for Nigeria. But before we narrow it down to Nigeria, I want us to on Sunday, right? It was on Sunday this happened. We got wind of the fact that the generals have struck again in Gabon. What is happening? That's the first question. What's going on? This is one coup too many. But I would like to hear what you think about what is going on currently in Africa.
Yeah, thank you very much. And, you know, we try to laugh. We try to make light of grievous things. Because definitely we have hope. If you see a man where his car got broken down on the road and he's calling, making jests, hailing people, hello, you will understand that there's something in him that is beyond that car broken down, you know. But if you see him wailing, booting the car, shouting at people, he cannot control the situation. One thing I like about Nigeria is that the grace of God is so much heavy that many of us that could communicate strength, we do it quickly when we can. And He has given us opportunity to find ourselves in places where we can. Having said that, let me look at the coup d'etat sweeping around Africa. Now, you are seeing military coup d'etat sweeping around Africa. But you didn't see the civilian coup d'etat upsetting democratic systems in Africa. And that one has been running. But you couldn't see it. Why? Because the composition of the AU and the composition of the ECOWAS were already channels for international communication. So they favored international communications. And they were manipulated to constrict dividends of democracy going down to the masses. And they were starting to form a caucus. Nigeria started to eye it. Even President Obasanjo's time, I think he wanted to go for a third term. You know, so it is very enticing. Why is it enticing? Is that there are reasons why AU, ECOWAS supposed to act on such excesses. They didn't act. There are reasons why the United Nations could say, oh, World Bank will not borrow you money. You are doing some things that are not democratic, which we cannot do in our country. Trump, former president, is taking mugshots in the US. So that means the law is superior to every other motions. Now, if the West, the international community, could look down on civilian democracy and manipulate their influence to expand their reach and their profiteering. And you want to now kick against military coup. Now, let me tell you, there are different kinds of military coup d'etat. I was in the military, and the kind of coup d'etat I was trained to see, that I experienced, are those type that you are dropped dead instantly if you are one of those that made us to say we want to come out. You are a target and you are targeted and you are dropped. But what you just saw is the civilians using the same military for their territorial integrity protection, for their own elongation and sustainability, against a government that has been taken over by foreign powers.
I hear you say they are questioning their own territorial integrity.
Yes, because the military is supposed to protect your territorial integrity by a government you voted into power. But immediately that government you voted into power has exceeded and is commencing excesses upon the constitutions, binding, guiding, monitoring, supervising you and I in the territorial integrity we found ourselves, expecting that the military is there as the last backup. Then it is now an onus on the same military to align with the people and say, what is it you are crying for? It is that one, okay, take. But there is further clauses, which we'll discuss as
Okay,
we go
so,
ahead.
you know, with what you've just said, I just want to reel out some of the facts, some of the things I'll see. Paul Kagame of Rwanda has ruled for 23 years, and Paul Biya of Cameroon for 42 years, Theodore Mbasogo of Equatorial Guinea, 43 years. We have Denis Nguesso of Congo, 38 years. Isaiah Afwerki of Eritrea, 30 years. Yoweri Museveni of Uganda, 37 years. Al-Hassan Ouattara of Ivory Coast, 13 years. Prior to that time, he used to be an opposition leader. Now, 13 years. Nanisime Eyadema of Togo, 38 years. His son, Faure Eyadema of Togo, 18 years. Omar Bongo of Gabon, 42 years. His son, Ali Bongo, 14 years. All of these things put collectively together. And I would like also to include the late Robert Mugabe, because he ruled the people while he was an agitator, and he also won for 1980. He ruled the people for a very long time in Zimbabwe. Why are all of these things happening? I know they say power is like wine, but we found out that in Africa, a lot of these people, they taste the wine, but suddenly get too drunk in it and do not want to relinquish power. Why is that antecedent really strong? And because we know that there's the AU and the ECOWAS, or the different regional leaders, are supposed to be checkmating this thing. Why are they very complacent to call these people out?
You are talking about the AU. Thank you for the opportunity to do that opening I did.
Yes.
Because now you are riding on one of the question marks.
Yes.
Now, if we talk about the AU and the ECOWAS, I don't understand who are those we call representatives of countries that make up the AU and the ECOWAS. Now, the leaders of the country tell you, bye from the plane, I'm going for ECOWAS summit or AU summit. And oftentimes they select those that go with them.
True.
Now, AU is an African Union platform.
Yes.
Platform. ECOWAS is like a breakaway to say, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 countries have similar tendencies. So can we also talk and have a narrative that we can, if necessary, take to AU or take to UN or take to anywhere? Now, if the representatives of the countries are the president and their selected stooges, what kind of interface do you think will be happening on that kind of summit? Especially to favor those that are there, because I cannot come and speak against myself, because one of the people they are sending to Niger Republic to go and mediate is also a violator of a system that the Niger Republicans are angry about.
Yeah. Word.
You are a violator. I am a bad referee. And you are asking me to go and talk to players who are angry about the actions of a bad referee.
For officiating.
So you can see that the fault, the breakaway is that representatives do not necessarily be leadership.
Yeah.
Representatives must be cut across your lines of interface. Agriculture, technology, manufacturing, academic, medicine. Those are the people that would have put in our best foot forward. Ghana, best foot forward. Cameroon, best foot forward. And they sit together. They are talking about medicine. They would have stood against the vaccine if there were articulate medical practitioners from all African countries sitting at AU sessions and talking. They would have been able to come back to their countries with communique to say, our military is this, our manufacturing has this problem, power supply is working in these other countries in Africa, it's not working in these other countries. So we met.
Yes.
And the power players in those African countries are saying we should also emulate this. And because those are people of electrical engineering, electronic engineering professors, articulate personalities in the practitioner, who will believe them, who will work with them, they will interchange activities with their other African countries.
Yes.
You will gradually, slowly ebb out from the unnecessary manipulation of other countries outside Africa.
Wow, this is getting very heated and interesting. I will digress a bit, related still to the coup wave sweeping through Africa. We have 6 countries presently, and of the 6, about 3 of them have a common denominator: electoral infractions that gave rise to the coups. We have Guinea, we have Burkina Faso, and recently Gabon, as a direct result of elections. Now, the others too have inferences to democracy, and that's where I'm headed. Do you think, in all sense of responsibility, that democracy is the best fit for Africa, given how unique we are as a people? Because more often than not, each time a coupist strikes, they question the veracity of democracy.
I am not a professor in the spiritual book, the Bible. But I know that there was a time the people were crying for a king. They were crying for a king, crying for a king. Now, let's come back to reasons why we have democracy being abused, reasons why we need to think, do we need democracy? Sir, we had 30, 40 years ago. Some of these people you are talking about have served 30 years, 40 years.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, very true.
So when I tell people sometimes that 30 years ago, I am 53 years old now. 30 years ago, I was 23 years old. I was already in the military at that age. I was seeing some things then that were not in agreement with my primary school, in Vitry Primary School in Benin, my Edopolo Grammar School, growing up, Boy Scout days, in Payne Primary School, 11 Benin Troop. I was seeing things that are now arguing with those trainings. I was going to, they were calling it SU, Student Union.
Yes.
We were going to Bible class in school. So when you see somebody smoking, you say, ah. When we go to Boba Hill, all the armed robbers, they will line them up. Pwa, pwa. I was like, yes, no crime here. You don't do anything. If you see any guy committing a crime, you like, hey. military rule, military rule. The next thing, we got civilians fighting against the military. NADECO and all the other labor, NLC, will be clapping for them. They were fighting. They will lock them up. When they are pushing them into the Black Maria, they will raise one hand up like this. Everybody will say, hey. We didn't know that the fighters of any war are not those that should naturally carry the trophy.
Oh. So, okay, when you say that, if we go back, because I just want to just mention the same thing that happened in Zimbabwe. Because President, at the time, Robert Mugabe was a man that had been in university.
In the opposition. Yeah.
He left university, and there were those that fought.
Supposedly
nationalists. And you will see such persons come up. So
they are not. Okay, look at the NADECO people. All of them that have gotten opportunity to get into governance, one way or the other. Where were those things? Now we see people that were in videos saying subsidy or no subsidy. Now sitting in an opportunity. You see, I discovered early enough when I was a young man in the military that when there is an opportunity, there are decisions that you should, you would, and you must take that will decipher who you really are in time to come. Every time you find yourself in a position of opportunity to take a decision. Now, we had the opportunity to take decisions when the military now said, civilians, take. We are handing over to you. Naira was 1 naira to $1. If what we fought for, we now got it, why did we not look for players? Why do you think that certain people go and look for a teacher to come and teach mathematics in their school after they have paid money, rented a place or bought a place and start a school? They will now say, I need chemistry teacher. I need mathematics teacher of high repute. I need Montessori certified teacher because I want to start a kindergarten. So why do you need all of that? Because if you start a hospital as a medical doctor, you also need a gynecologist. You need all the experts.
You don't go for
to hold all the experts' position. Why is it that when we get into power, we don't wait at that point and say, I need to push back now and allow corporate entity take charge? The next thing, you are now looking always, it's either PDP, APC, LPC, I'm talking to everybody. You are now looking for the man that carried machete and cut off somebody's head so that you get your aim. If there was need for that, that is war. After the war, governance begins. That man shouldn't be a governor because he only knows how to wield machete. And he has so many dark secrets about you. So when he siphons billions that you gave him for palliative, you will only call him. I thought you have changed. You will now tell you, sir, I gave to the boys. We have not taken care of the boys. And you have held bound. So these things must be ruled clearly. Africa in itself does not have anything to blame the West for. We cannot blame the West. When the West came here, we were the ones that showed him this thing that you see is what I am wearing like this.
Yes. I completely agree with you, sir.
This is gold.
Yes. I wanted to just because we're also trying to optimize the time we have. Tomorrow, the election tribunal will be making public their verdicts on the recently concluded elections. And like I asked in the preceding question, most of these crises are tied to elections and election results. Should Nigerians be concerned, given that from tomorrow we'll be hearing something directly related to the elections?
I will like to say it from this perspective. Now, everybody has a right to express their will. Everybody has a right to demonstrate grievances or whatever by statutory approvals.
Yes.
There is demonstration. That's why you see in the military veteran, when we wanted to demonstrate, anytime we want to demonstrate, we go to the DSS, we go to the police, we invite all necessary agencies of government. We keep our demonstrations in the ambit of the law.
Yes.
And we warn you likewise that if you breach your own reasoning by law and impose yourself upon us, so it is both the agencies and the people must respect the democratic expectations of peaceful demonstration. Now, if we need to see breakouts tomorrow, I expect that there will be control on both sides. Why? Those serving in uniform right now are buying fuel at the same liters amount that those not wearing uniforms are buying.
Sure.
Those carrying guns now for government, trying to maybe, if necessary, impose the governance, are also going to the same schools where the school bills are heating up right now.
Yeah. Sure.
So I'm indirectly talking to everyone, both the government security agencies. After you sign in your weapon and you come out from the office, you will pay fare, same rate with other people.
Yes.
You will buy fuel, your children will pay school fees, bloated school fees, and you will go to the market also.
Very true.
So we must look at our grievances as coordinated for one purpose, drawing the attention for good governance. And if we can achieve that, then it is good for us.
Wow.
Okay, with this, I like the fact that you've addressed everybody, because someone rightly said that the police orderly that escorts the senator, the moment the senator gets home, surely would drop his rifle and get back to his house naturally and do these things. Well, I want you to address the people, because we know that in different places, different circles, people are clamoring that in case the court ruling or the tribunal's ruling doesn't go in their favor, that some kind of protests, some things should take place. What would be your address directly to everyone, whether it is in your favor or not in your favor at the time? Should they wait until, let's follow through all of the processes, even down to the Supreme Court, that we can have the final case, and this case can be settled amicably? Also, not forgetting the power players too involved. That is the persons, the petitioners.
Yeah.
Also, what should be the move for everyone around them at this time?
Given the right opportunity,
Yeah.
I will expect, after the ruling, if it goes in your favor or not, there is a next step. After this tribunal, what comes out from the tribunal, you can take it to the Supreme Court.
Yes.
That will not stop the protests, because we are talking to different categories of people.
Yeah.
I used to tell my staff, when they get angry at the guards calling, he can't understand. I say, it's a security man. You need to come down to his level. His salary is peanuts. He's angry. You need to go and talk to him. Leave your manager's seat. So we are going to meet different categories of people. The vulcanizer that is losing jobs now.
Different levels of agitation.
So you will see the agitation. Then you are going to see people that are sponsored to agitate.
Yes.
There are people that have taken agitation as a job profile. Oshomole, the current senator, He
Current
started
governor.
from Labour.
Yes.
Anytime he's coming out to tell any government that tomorrow we are rolling out, tomorrow is tomorrow.
Yes.
And he has twisted so many governments for the benefit of the people. So many of them in power also have gone through the process of twisting government for the benefit of the people and converted it to their profile. Use the same profile to get into governance and still join the government against the people. So you can see a process of growth. So it's like you are graduating to a level where you need to now look back to where you went to school and say, I'm done with you, we are shutting down. So Nigerians will protest tomorrow if necessary, but they should understand that intellectually there's a next process.
Exactly.
And that next process, there are people that should sit and look at the next process and put together the right documents and processes to hit the next process. There are those that will protest. They don't know anything. They are being used by those that are sponsored. Government security agencies, please. They are Nigerians. They have NIN and they are our brothers and sisters. So you must please understand that they may not know what they are doing when they exceed some lines of engagement. So don't just cock your rifle and start killing anybody.
Excellent. So I just want to, just by way of wrapping up, what should we expect? Will this trend continue, the coups in Africa? Are we going to see more coups happen? So what should Africans expect going forward?
I expect that this opportunity, I started with opportunity and decisions. I expect that this is an opportunity for Africa to take decisions. But it's looking faulty already. Where I say it's looking faulty already, it's like, now I just want to unseat you. I'm not coming with anything good for the people. Because if you look at the processes of Niger Republic, Gabon now, you will see that certain persons that shouldn't even come close to discussions now are being within the ambit of decision taking. So I'm seeing Africa in a place where they could take a decision and say, AU, all presidents, hold on, send us your articulate membership representation. Then, can we look at our documentation? Hello, the agitation is not for elongated stay, sir. When Solomon was king, everywhere was bubbling. There was food everywhere. The law and order was bubbling. In this Africa that you see, if a president stays for 100 years, and I can go to university, I'm not paying a dime. I still get my bursary allowance. And I come out from the university and I make 2-1. And NMPC, Chevron call me from my house. Hello, Roy, can you come and resume work with us? I'll say, oh, Ajib has also called me. Can I consider both and get back to you? If that happens, if I now look at people I vote for, and they are in the same economic class with me in the plane, and I say, Senator, you're doing a good job. You say, yeah, how are you? I say, fine. If those things work and I put on the lights in my house and it goes on, I'm sick, there is an hospital ambulance waiting for me outside, and I get to the hospital and it's top notch, I will not protest. What human beings want in the world is good governance, dividends of democracy. If any government can begin to give it, if Africa looks at its resources and rechannel the resources back to benefit the people.
I think I got my answer. You know, I asked the question if democracy was best fit for Africa, and you made a comment that if one man is there for 100 years and I get all the dividends of democracy, and I take it from you that we also need to really sit back, reassess what we have as a system of government for now in order to have a template that works.
But you can't do it if you are the president and you are the one attending ECOWAS and AU.
That's also, Ambassador, it's always a pleasure having you, sir, here, because you gave us One thing that we always love when you always prefer solutions
Yeah.
in different dimensions, and our eyes are open to seeing it very well. Thank you so much, sir, Ambassador Dr. Roy Okedeve. Always a pleasure to have you.
Always a pleasure.
And thank you for what you do and what you're still doing, and also for everyone. We want to say thank you, and may God continue to strengthen you, and also the ex-servicemen. Thank you, sir.